Thanks, Sam. This is Kylie reporting to you live, and as you may know, our stock market has recently crashed a few days ago. Now, all of our lives will be changing, meaning unemployment rates will go up, and it would be copacetic if all of us here would be able to keep our jobs. But for those of you that do not know about the recent stock market crash, I will go into further detail. Now, the U.S. stock market underwent rapid expansion, reaching its peak in August 1929. By then, production had already declined and unemployment rate had risen, leaving stocks in great excess of their real value. Stock prices began to decline in September and early October 1929, and on October 18th, the fall began. Panic set in over the country, and on October 24th, Black Thursday, a record of 12 million shares were traded. Investment companies and leading bankers attempted to stabilize the market by buying up great blocks of stock, producing a moderate rally on Friday. On Monday, however, the storm broke anew, and the market went into freefall. Black Monday was followed by Black Tuesday, October 29th, in which stock prices collapsed completely and 16 million shares were traded on the New York Stock Exchange in one single day. Billions of dollars were lost, wiping out thousands of investors, and stock ticketers ran hours behind because the machinery could not handle the tremendous value of trading. Now, women and kids have left their husbands because they're now unemployed. Everyone's lives went from being nifty and swell to being dried up and bent on the streets.
Thanks, Kylie. And to end today, we have another short video about what really happened with the stock market crash.
In the 1920s, there was a notion that the United States had entered what they called a new era of economic development. That the old rules of what went up would eventually come down. That those old rules no longer apply. They bought homes, they bought cars, and especially they bought stocks, in large part on the basis of borrowed money.
But the good times wouldn't last. October 24th, 1929, Black Thursday. The stock market crashed and continued to go down. Within a week, total market value had dropped $30 billion, roughly 10 times the amount of the federal budget. The result? Panic. President Herbert Hoover tried to calm things down, calling the collapse a passing incident in our national lives. He said things would be back to normal in just 60 days, but by then, the U.S. Depression had spread around the world.
As banks collapsed, and as the pain spread to the larger economy, thousands, then hundreds of thousands, then millions of people were laid off. Many of them lost their homes. They hit the road. They established squatter towns. These were tent villages where people lived underneath bridges by the sides of roads. They acquired the derisive name Hooverville in scorn of President Hoover.
Then, in 1932, Hoover lost his re-election bid. The new president, Franklin D. Roosevelt.
By the beginning of 1933, when Franklin Roosevelt took office, the banking system of the United States was essentially paralyzed. The unemployment rate hit 25%. People were going hungry. The country was in a depression, but it was also in despair.
Roosevelt's solution? An aggressive public works policy nicknamed the New Deal.
The New Deal brought down the unemployment rate a little bit. It offered hope to those people who remained unemployed. It provided incomes for some people who didn't have incomes otherwise. It didn't make a serious dent in the Depression itself, but it did alleviate most of the despair that the Depression had engendered.
With a bit of hope, Americans weathered the economic storm, and by the end of the decade, real relief was on the way as American industry geared up for World War II.
And that's it for tonight. This is Molly Tobias. See you next time on Now News.